All right, my guest tonight in San Francisco, founder and editor for YPulse.com, Anastasia Goodstein is here. And in New York, founder and executive director of as20080128.com, David Bernstein joins us. Welcome to Loop, everybody. Let's get it started. Anastasia, first of all, I always wonder, are the CNNs and the MSNBCs of the world, are they hurting for a new headline and a new take on this campaign when they say that the youth is motivated, that now they're energized, or are they really finally motivated enough to make a difference here?
I do think they're really motivated. I actually think that 8 years of the Bush administration has motivated a lot of people that may not have been motivated before, and especially youth. I read that on Facebook there was a group that formed, for people who dislike George W. Bush, and already over 1 million people had signed up for that group. So I think the current administration has done better than P. Diddy or any Rock the Vote campaign has ever done.
But I know a lot of people who are members of the Fall Out Boy MySpace fan club, but they would never buy a CD of theirs. So, do Facebook's and MySpace pages, do those really translate into poll numbers?
I think what they're translating into is sort of an organizing tool for young people, especially young people on campuses, to organize each other to get out the vote. Text messaging as well has been used a lot in this campaign as a way to remind young people to actually go to the polls, and I think it's been effective.
Well, I think just to add to that, I think that what these new technologies are doing is people are already there. Young people are already in these places, and they're already on these sites. So it's a very natural fit. And I think that that's something that really appeals to young people, is being able to sort of just be where they already are and not have to, wait for a candidate to come to them. They turn on their computer, they turn on Facebook and MySpace and YouTube, and the candidates are right there. So there's, I think, a sense of real access and direct connection, which I think is what really gets young people excited and inspired.
Completely agree with that. But David, what do you think the issues are that are actually motivating people? What are these candidates saying, and what are they speaking about that makes the youth care?
Young people want to be talked to about all the issues that older people are being talked to about, but I think they also are particularly concerned with the war in Iraq, with healthcare, with global warming. Darfur has been something that a lot of young people have gotten really organized around. These are issues that young people are starting to see the direct connection to their lives. And I think once you start seeing that, young people really start wanting to contribute and wanting to participate in the process.
Anastasia? Right, and I was just going to jump in on that too and say, it's the economy's stupid, right? It's the economy for everybody, but especially for this generation. They are graduating with $20,000 on average in debt. They can't get health insurance. They can't find affordable housing in cities they want to live in. So I think the economy is a huge issue for young voters.
And minimum wage is something that, in the 2006 elections, when young people actually did vote in large numbers, they got rewarded by an increase of the minimum wage and things like that. So, when young people respond, politicians do go to them and say, okay, well, you voted for us, we're going to do something for you. Young people are the people who benefit most from the minimum wage being raised in some respects.
All right, well, Anastasia, take us to November, if you will. Once the nominees are picked, is this sense of urgency and all this sense of energy, is that going to fade away once we're at that point, or is it only going to grow exponentially?
I really hope it doesn't fade away, and I hope that it grows. I think it depends on who the candidate is. I think that Barack Obama has done an amazing job at organizing young people. He started over a year ago on campuses. He was one of the first to really embrace all of this social media, and I think he's really, embodied this sort of colorblind generation, in terms of really being a candidate who moves beyond race. And, he speaks in very idealistic terms, and I think young people tend to be idealistic, and they want to hear about hope.
David, do you agree that the candidate that gets chosen here in November, is that going to have the biggest say on whether or not the youth turn out?
Absolutely. I think that young people and everyone are really hungry for an election that's not just two guys in suits like we've seen for a long time. And I think that people want real excitement and real energy, and people want to talk about issues, and people really want to get deep into this campaign. So I think it's important to see who the nominees are, because that will have an impact, because it's so much easier to connect with someone who's a personality than a specific abstract concept.
All right, well, Anastasia, you said Barack Obama did a great job of reaching out to the youth. Who do you think is going to wish that they reached out to the youth more when it comes time?
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Hillary is probably, a little bit late to the game. I think, even though Barack Obama isn't from this generation, he's technically a boomer, I think that young people relate to him more. I think they grew up with Bill and Hillary, and it feels like, the same old, same old.
David, it sounds like you'd agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, Barack Obama looks young, and that's a great entry point. I mean, people aren't voting for him because he looks young, but that's a great way to connect with him. You look at him and you say, this is someone who might be able to understand, what's going on with me, what I'm thinking about right now. And I think that all the campaigns, though, are really realizing that there are 29 million young voters that are going to be voting in this election, and all the campaigns do have, for the first time, a full-time person devoted to reaching out to young voters.
Right.
I think it has a lot to do with the candidate's message.
I was just going to say, even their kids, I think McCain's daughter is blogging, and Mitt Romney has sons that are blogging. So, they're
between all the Twitters and the
own...
Flickr pools, hopefully someone's paying attention and getting motivated.
Yes.
All right, I want to thank Anastasia and David. Thank you guys so much for joining us and keeping us in the loop.
Attack of the Show, weeknights at 7, only on G4.